Alright. How many of you guys have ever made a mistake before and was either big or small and just, said sorry and moved on? I'm sure many of you, yeah, like me. Alright. Well, in a quote from Anon, which I'm thinking is anonymous, the quote reads, "To err is human, to forgive is not company policy." Likewise, I have to agree with this quote. Many times I've made mistakes before in my life, and a lot of times I always apologize and say I'm sorry. And I always tell myself never to make the same mistake again, twice, especially twice in a row. For instance, when you're working at a store and you deal with customers or any other type of people, you make a mistake. Like, for instance, I had an older gentleman come to our store. He's a normal regular at a gun store, and I called him by the wrong name. Now that was a big no-no. He just looked at me like I was some big dummy, and I said, "I'm so sorry." His name is Mr. Noon, by the way. He still comes to our store. But at the same time, I was like, "I'm really sorry, Mr. Noon." And from henceforth, I've never miscalled his name. I always greet him when he comes through the door, and he always recognizes that. And another thing, when you go throughout your life, to err is human. Human nature itself is flawed. I mean, I'm sure many of you have never met a perfect person in your life. I haven't. No matter who you look up to, leaders or people below you, people always make mistakes, big or small. I mean, they might get on your nerves. It might be a small petty mistake like taking staplers or misplacing them in other locations and making you freak out because you need a stapler real bad. It's just human nature. A lot of times, something like that happens, you're not going to ask them, to say you're sorry. You just tell them, don't do it ever again. A lot of times, people say, "I'm so sorry." They go on, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." You would just rather have them just take their licks and move on. Like most people would agree, I'm sure. Like someone tells you you did something wrong, just tell me I did something wrong, and whatever punishment it is, just give it to me, and I'll just move on from there. So I mean, like the quote says, to err is human, and it's not company policy to forgive. So I'll have to wholeheartedly agree with that.
All right, there's an uncertain audience survey that you use as an attention device, but you made a quick transition to the quote. I thought that was a smart move. And then you've got a point of view that's pretty clear. There's not as much of a setup of the structure as you want to have at the beginning of the speech. During the speech, I think that you did do a little bit of transition. You did try and give it a little bit of structure. I thought you started off with a couple of good illustrations, but the further you got into the speech, the more vague things seemed to be, and you felt a little bit like you're stretching it out a little bit, trying to get something else in there. I think if you had a clearer plan, that would be less obvious, and then you could be more confident in making those individual points and then go on to the next point. On the delivery issues, there are a lot of things that are really solid. First of all, you've got a nice voice that projects pretty well. You don't have to shout. It's the acoustics in this room are so screwy. If your voice is just a little too loud, you get all that echo. Your voice seems to be right at the right spot, so it's projecting without having to shout, and you don't sound like you're going the other direction trying to be quiet. So you luck out a little bit there, and everything is very fluent. You're consistent about going through it. There aren't a lot of hesitancies, hems and hawing, or awkward pauses, so that, I think, works nicely as well. The gestures look like you are they're thoughtful and purposeful. They're connected to something that you're talking about here, that it's got some relationship to the idea that you're getting to next, so you use them appropriately. I thought your posture is pretty solid. I don't know about the flip-flops, you know, but the...
I have issues.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's snowing, I'll still wear flip-flops.
Okay. So I had one guy in my last class, I had to pick on him. I said, you did like the exact opposite of everything that I told you to do. Got the hat on, and he's wearing it backwards. He's wearing a t-shirt with some big slogan all over it. He's wearing shorts, and his legs are all tatted out, and he's got flip-flops on. And I said, now, boy, if I was really being pissy about these kinds of things, I'm going, ding 1, ding 2, ding 3, ding 4. I'm not dinging you on it. I'm just making a wise guy comment. All right. Thank you.